Two teams here, each off to 1-0 starts as this one is underway on EA Sports. This is taken at his 4. And a good return. He's across the 35-yard line, right around the 36. So here comes the Raiders offense now onto the field. And they will be led out by their 6'3" quarterback. He'll be dropped shy of the 40 despite an excellent display of footwork. Give him a couple on the carry there, 2nd and 8. And this O-line, it is the lifeblood of the offense.
They established the tone. Mean, nasty, physical. They can't wait to get after people. That allows the rest of the offense to feel confident.
And after the play on the ground, that brings up 2nd down here. And he'll give it here to his running back. And the second wave of tacklers is going to get him as they stop him behind the line. It's a loss of 2, now 3rd down.
That play almost seemed like a baseball play. See ball, hit ball. But in this case, see guy with ball, tackle guy with ball.
So trouble already here on their opening drive. This is 3rd and 9. They'll look to throw. And this is going to be incomplete.
And that's a great opening series defensively. You force what should be a 3-and-out on your opening possession.
And great coverage there on 3rd down to force the incompletion to set up 4th. So on 4th down, here's Marquette King to punt it away. And he gets it away, a directional kick going toward the sideline. And no return here. Where will they spot it? They say just outside the 20-yard line. Here come the Bengals now to take over. And a look here at their go-to guy under center. Fight his way forward to about the 23-yard line. Just a yard on the 1st down carry, so it's 2nd and 9. And the Buffet boys, the O-line, hopefully they're ready today.
Listen, you got to feed them first. But if you do, you usually get a great product out on the field. And when they play well, the quarterback can't wait to feed them afterwards.
They're going to look to throw. It's a short one here, complete to the tight end. That catch good for 5. It's 3rd down. And we take a look now at the defense for the Raiders.
Khalil Mack's been an all-pro for the last 2 years, but it only tells part of the story. In 2015, he was an all-pro at 2 different positions, defensive end and outside linebacker. And why? Because he's a hybrid. He can do anything you want. Rush the passer with his hand down, play with strength. He can also drop into coverage as an outside linebacker. I think he can cover tight ends and running backs with equal proficiency.
And now whistles and a flag, and I think we got a jump here.
Encroachment, defense.
And he got a little aggressive too early.
And he did, wanting that quick takeoff as the ball was snapped, but I think sometimes those big guys on offense, they're pretty cagey too, right? They make those little sudden moves or those little subtle moves that get you to jump.
They'll look to throw now on 1st down. He gets this one to Boyd. And they'll get it up just short of the 45 at the 44. It's a Bengal 1st down, a pickup of 11. And the offense lining up 1st and 10. Now back to throw. He's going to flip that out to the flat. It's complete. That's going to go as a loss of 4, and it'll be 2nd down. Really good defensive effort. They were all over that little swing pass out to the right side before lost yardage.
Terrific read, better execution, and done with a lot of enthusiasm, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
They saw it all the way, ran to the football, and caused a nice play for lost yardage.
Here's a play fake as they set up to throw. And the Raiders have got him. I was waiting for them to get there first because the momentum they carry from last week, unbelievable. They had a snowman, 8 sacks.
You were surprised that it took this long, and this isn't that long, truthfully. But here's the thing. If you've seen that on tape, your offensive line is going to have to ask for help. Tight end has to stay in. If you use a fullback, keep him in. Make sure you have extra people to try and keep your quarterback upright. Didn't work on that play.
Need something from deep in the bag of tricks here after 1st and 2nd down went backwards. It's 3rd and very long. They'll set up a throw. Oh, the pressure too great, and he goes down once more.
Well, how about that? A dime set on defense, 6 defensive backs. None of them blitz. They're just back there in coverage. Defensive lineman gets the sack.
That's where the O-line, they go to the sideline, they keep their helmets on so the cameras can't find them, right?
Yeah, the cameras can't find them, but I know one thing. The O-line coach will.
So on 4th down, on comes the left-footed punter, Kevin Huber, to punt it away. He punted 5 times in the win last week as this one's away. We'll call that a 49-yard punt with a return of just 2. And the Raiders will take over now 1st and 10. Now the Raiders offense, they get set to head back on the field. And the last drive, the first drive for them, not very good. 3 and out. What do they go to here?
Well, you don't look down at your play sheet and say, this is what the problem is. Let's find out who my playmakers are. Get the ball in their hands, and maybe the offense will move a little bit better.
Sometimes it's more important to get it to the right people rather than dialing up the right number.
Exactly.
Or the right play, yeah.
That too.
5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on 1st down. And this defensive line will be looking to control the point of attack.
And that's what they've done throughout this season. This is a terrific unit. They play together very, very well, and they don't permit big plays to happen.
Clock rolling as we hit the midway point of this first quarter. Out of the gun, they'll look to throw. Over the middle, complete. It's Newton. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. 14 yards is the pickup there at a Raider first.
I know exactly what's going to be said about that play from the defensive perspective.
What's that?
That's why I tell all you guys we need more than one tackler to the ball. He broke the first tackle. Luckily enough, there were more people there to get him down.
Fresh set of downs here. And to give this time to the tailback. A gain of 3, 2nd down. Decent chunk of yardage still left here. 2nd and 7. From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. Oh, a ball batted in the air, and now it's intercepted. Picked off at the 38, and his guys are going to take over at the 39-yard line.
Well, this is one of the downsides of being a rookie quarterback. You know you're going to get called out about everything you do that goes wrong. Here, maybe he's a little uncertain about where to go with the football, and at this level, uncertainty equals turnovers. And this one winds up being intercepted.
Cincinnati now ready to take the field. And on the last go-around, they really couldn't get anything going.
They had to punt from deep inside their own territory, which means you're going to lose the field position battle as a general rule. What they're looking for now is a little more consistency, move the ball at least a few times on offense, get a couple of first downs, and hopefully flip the field.
Yeah, just something to build off of. That's what they're looking for here. Now a play fake here on first down. And he whips that one incomplete there. They were looking for Johnson that time. That'll bring up second down. And this pass defense, they were sensational in the win last week, and they're looking good here so far in this first quarter.
You know, we often talk about how offenses get locked in, and that runs over multiple games where they're really, in that zone. Defenses can be the exact same way, and I think we're seeing an example of it here.
And it's a short one here, complete to his tight end. And to the 42-yard line here and brought down there. Only 3 yards on the catch. It's third down.
I think it's okay there. They didn't get a whole lot on that play, but it's nice to have a safety valve that's built like this guy. Big target, guy you can spot pretty easily. Put it on him when your other targets aren't open.
On third down, he'll drop to throw. Got a man, it's Ross, complete. And he gets this one across midfield for the first down to the 46. 12 yards that time and a Cincinnati first down. They'll set up to throw. Quick throw that's complete on the inside slant. And he's brought down. 11 more on that one and another first down. Looks like the defense in press coverage here. On first down, they'll run it on the draw play. And he'll lose yardage on the play back at the 37-yard line. It's a loss of 2 there, bringing up second down.
I believe I understand where the offense was going there. They just hit a big pass play, thought they could fool them with a run, but maybe they overthought it a little bit. Just hit a nice pass, come back with another one, keep the momentum going.
It's already 2nd and 12. The defense hoping to push them back more. Now a handoff here to his running back. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. So they get half of what they needed. It'll be 3rd and 6 upcoming.
On a 2nd and long, it's really nice to see an offense that has enough confidence to run the football in that situation. I think that goes back to their practice and game planning. They've seen things that they've seen on tape and in previous games that led them to believe that even in a long-distance situation, they can still run the football and gain enough yardage to put themselves in a good spot on third down.
Give him 6 yards, and they do convert on third. First down, they'll run it on the draw play. And not much of a hole there as he gets it down to about the 24-yard line. These are his numbers from last week's contest. 22 carries, 63 yards.
And I'm eager to see how they deploy him in this game. Last week, a heavy workload. Do they decide to bring that down a little bit and try and keep him fresh? Or do they say, guess what? He's locked in. Keep handing him the football.
And before they can get settled in here, time expires on the first quarter of action. 0-0 our score. EA Sports NFL Sunday returns following this. Alongside Charles Davis, Brandon Gaudin, and it's the Bengals with a football to begin quarter number 2. They've got a 2nd and 9 to start things out. And he'll give it here to his running back. And able to work his way down to the 16. 8 yards on the ground there, and now they're looking at a 3rd and 2.
That was a good run, and it got to the second level. And what I mean by that is that's where the linebackers usually play. First level being the defensive front, last level being the secondary. But the strong safety position ended up making the tackle, and oftentimes we call them a hybrid. Combination defensive back, combination linebacker. We saw the linebacker make the stop.
Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. Oh, free safety blitz. That can be a gamble, but it proves fruitful there.
Yeah, you're exactly right about the gamble, because oftentimes the free safety is the last line of defense against a long pass. And when he comes at the quarterback, he'd better get home and make the play. Otherwise, a big play could result for the offense.
Here's Randy Bullock now as he'll go for the field goal. From the right hash, it's a 41-yard attempt. And Bullock will put this one through. And the Bengals are on the board first here. It's 3-0. And we were scoreless up until this point in the second quarter. Now we finally have a little action.
Let's see where this action takes us. First quarter, no points at all. Now we've got our first score of the game. Well, does that signal that we're going to get more as we go along? Or will it revert back to what we saw in the beginning of the game?
This is taken just shy of the 10 here. And it fights through one man. And they're going to start this drive in pretty good shape as they get it up past the 30. Now out comes their leader and the captain of this offense back onto the field. And he comes out on the heels of an interception he threw last time they had the ball.
Yeah, and you know, the quarterbacks that I know that are the best ones, the ones that really know how to lead their team, they tell them, that's on me. That's my bad. But let's go back out there and move ahead again, guys. We can get this done.
One good thing for him, it did only lead to 3 points and not a touchdown after that turnover.
Big thanks to the defense.
Yeah, give him 4 yards there. It'll be 2nd and 6. Tough running there. That's a hard-earned 4 yards.
Yeah, those are the unsung kind of runs. They don't fill up the stat sheet, but they do set you up in good position on second down.
From the shotgun, he'll look to throw. And a quick throw here, that's complete. And he'll be brought down right at the 45-yard line. They get 9 out of that one, and as a result, the drive continues.
He decided to run a hitch route. It really helps to have a guy who can turn it loose. And, boy, he rifled one in there on that one. Not much run after catch, but it worked really well.
And to give this time to the tailback. And they went the wrong way there. Losing yardage back at the 43-yard line. That's going to go as a loss of 2, and it'll be 2nd down.
And that was a nice play by the defense. And it is tough to be an offensive lineman nowadays, especially if you're dealing with how the defensive tackles have evolved. Their quickness, their agility, their speed has changed the big guys in the middle, the center, and the offensive guards. Formerly, they were just power players. Now they have to be light on their feet as well to keep up with the speed of the defensive players.
Now they'll throw here out of the gun. To the sideline, and it's caught, but boy, he's out of bounds. Well, they tried to get him into space coming out of the backfield, but it'll be 3rd down.
That was a nice catch, but unable to stay in bounds. And remember, it wasn't a wide receiver who works on that all the time.
I was going to say, he likes to get the ball handed to him. Now, don't get me wrong, he's part of the passing game as well, but maybe a little out of his comfort zone there.
Yeah, he might want to have a few words to say to us about that later. But I am still going with you on that one. Wide receivers work out a little.
And eventually taken down here. Great coverage downfield.
I remember when I was a kid and all I wanted was a nickel so I could get that soda down at the fountain. And guess what? The nickel came into play well. 5 defensive backs. They covered well. Allowed for the sacks.
Sodas were a nickel when you were a kid?
No, I just needed the extra nickel so I could pay the proper price.
Okay, how much were they? A dime? What were they?
15 cents.
Here's Marquette King now, as he'll kick it away for the 2nd time. Fair catch called for right around the 11-yard line. So a change of possession here on the punt. And the Bengals will have a 1st and 10 from deep in their own territory. And out now, here come the Bengals. And they split the uprights last time for 3. They've got the lead. They're not going to play this conservative. They're not hoping for another field goal. They're hoping for a touchdown.
I'm with you on that one. I like where your head is. I like the way you're thinking because you're exactly right. Trying to sit on a lead and play that way, that doesn't work too well for most teams. Run your offense. Run what you do best. Exactly. Put it all the way down and try to increase your lead in a big way. And the best way to do it, touchdowns.
It's a Bengal 1st down, a pickup of 11. They'll run it now out of the gun. And able to break one tackle, but then quickly brought down. But a nice little gain. A solid run on 1st down. Gain of 7 leaves them with a 2nd and 3.
Offensive linemen love creating space for their guys carrying the ball. But when that guy also breaks tackles and creates extra yardage, they almost feel like he's one of them, and they really embrace him.
Now a handoff here to his running back. And he's able to take this one up to the 35-yard line. It's a pickup of 6 and good enough to move the chains.
So many teams want to throw the ball in this situation nowadays, but I love watching a team that has enough confidence to go ahead and run the football. In that situation, that's almost a tendency breaker.
They go play action here on 1st down. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And his guys are going to get the football at the 23-yard line. A look at the running back, the man out of the backfield as he gears up to go again. They haven't been able to get him on track. They haven't been able to get this offense on track. No points so far.
Maybe it's time to start doing a few different things. Throwing the ball a little bit, maybe featuring other people touching it for a while, and then you've got a chance to come back to him when things have changed a little bit. They have to make an adjustment.
There's still time for him here as we sit in the 2nd quarter. Finding his safety valve here. That's complete. And he's able to get it to the edge of the red zone at the 20-yard line. Call it a 3-yard gain, and that'll make it a 2nd down. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he'll at least get him inside the red zone here, down to about the 19. Just a 1-yard pickup there, and it's going to make it 3rd down at 6.
Back-to-back runs, I'd say that encompassed maximum effort for minimal gain.
Minimal yardage, and now they're going to need something more than minimal on this play coming up. They'll look to throw here. This will be caught just inside the 10. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal. They'll run it now out of the gun. And they'll get him down here at about the 5-yard line. It's a gain of a yard, and it'll set up 2nd and goal. Be interesting to see now what they do offensively down near the goal line after not much there that time.
As the offensive play caller, that may change your sequence now. Instead of coming right back with a running play, you may have to go to the air.
And he gets him a little bit closer. He takes it from the 6 inside the 5 to the 4.
His path became similar to almost running a stretch play, didn't it? Trying to find a crease, anywhere to put his foot in the ground and cut back. It just never materialized.
He'll look to throw. And that is incomplete.
Let's give this defense some credit now. They let the guys get downfield, and when push came to shove, they stood their ground. Now they'll likely force a field goal attempt.
Out is Janikowski now for the Raider field goal try. This will be just a 21-yard attempt. And Janikowski bangs it through, and that will tie us at 3-3. So it's a 7-play drive, but it stalls out in the end.
Let's credit the defensive front seven. They were a little leaky at the start of the drive, but they stiffened toward the end.
So a tie ball game here as the kick's away. This one taken just inside the 10. Solid return, pretty good field position. They'll start at the 32-yard line. Now the Cincinnati offense ready to see what they can do here. And last time they coughed it up, led to a field goal. They're fortunate that it only led to a field goal, but still, they're not happy about it.
Could you sense the relief, though, when they only gave up the field goal? And they were able to trot back out on the field and start this drive a little more pep in their step because it didn't cost their team a touchdown. But they know they've got to do it a lot better than they did on the last possession.
The coach will just be relieved, though, if they recoup with a score here, right?
I think the coach would be ecstatic to see them pick themselves back up and now take it downfield and punch in the end zone without turning it over.
So 2nd and 10 here. And on the outside, they're playing press coverage.
All right, here we go. Boom, landed.
Now he'll look to throw here on 2nd and 10. And this one's incomplete. He was looking for John Ross that time. And that takes us from 2nd to 3rd down.
All right, here we go. Green, 39. Green.
Back to throw here. And that's incomplete. I don't know. He had to be pretty quick with his fingers to start and stop after the ball hit the ground. I'm giving him some credit.
Well, I'm thinking about the mental focus, you know?
Yeah.
The mental focus.
Yeah, that's true.
Got to stay with it.
That's true. Here's Kevin Huber now. On for his 2nd punt. He'd take a repeat of his first. He gets this one away, and boy, it's another boomer. The call for a fair catch, and it's made at about the 23-yard line. A 40-yard punt, no return, and the offense will take over with a new set of downs. And now Oakland ready to take the field. And last time they got 3 points, but it was a chip shot field goal. And when you go to the sideline after a chip shot field goal, maybe the offense not too happy.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Because you're exactly right. They're none too pleased that they didn't punch it in for 6 points. But you also have to remember, they did put points on the board.
3 points is 3 points.
And in this league, you take points when you can get them. Not easily done.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we'll take you to Orlando and Larry Ridley. Larry will have the highlights of this first half, but he won't have touchdowns because we haven't had any to this point.
But there's still time, though, partner.
All right, here we go. Blue, landed. Blue, landed.
Now a shotgun snap as they'll look to throw. Throwing for his running back, and he's got him complete. And now the Bengal defense here calling a timeout. It's just their first, so they'll have 2 remaining here before we get to halftime. The Raiders on 3rd down. They've only converted once in 4 tries. This is 3rd and 8.
Here we go. Blue, landed.
He'll drop to throw. Got his man complete over the middle. That's Newton. And he's got the first down yardage before he's brought down at the 42. A Raider first down, 17 yards. Looking left side, and he's got a man. It's Campbell. And taking it across midfield and just shy of the 40. Back-to-back gains of 17, and they are really on the march now. It's a first down. Incomplete, but a penalty flag is down in the backfield. Let's get the call.
Offense.
That hold coming from the left side of the line.
Hands got caught in the cookie jar on that one, and the flag came out. Penalty against him.
Let's go! Green, 39!
Again, he'll drop to throw. Throw left side complete. It's Ballard. No gain on the play there. It'll be second down. They'll drop to throw. Over the middle, complete. It's Newton. And he'll get it down to the 47 here. 4 yards on the completion, and it sets up a third down. Now on third and long, they'll look to throw. The Bengal pressure gets him that time. Down he goes. Now a second timeout called for by the defense. So that means they're down to 1 remaining here as we head toward halftime. So the defense had a chance to catch their breath, and now they're back out and ready. Here's Marquette King now as he's on to punt for Oakland. He's been a busy man here in this first half as he gets it away. This is taken around the 12. It's a 44-yard punt, just 3 on the return. And the offense will come back out deep in their own territory. The Bengal offense now gets set to head back out onto the field. And they're coming off a 3-and-out, my friend.
I think they've got to look at that play sheet and go to a spot that they haven't gone before. Time to shake things up a little bit to try and get this offense moving.
Okay, so how do you do that? How do you shake things up?
You look at what you called before, realize it hasn't worked
Go to
so
something
well,
else.
and maybe you try and find one of those special plays from one of your better players, and maybe try and hit something big and get things going in the excitement area.
And the tip there altered the ball flight, and it falls incomplete. It'll be second down. And on 2nd and 10 now. Looking to throw. And he's taken down. Back at his own 7. Now whistles, and the Raiders are going to signal for a timeout. It's just their first, so they'll have 2 remaining here before we get to halftime. The Bengals on 3rd down. 2 for 5 to this point. This will be a tough 3rd and 18. Now they'll run on the draw. And he is going to lose yardage here. Now a second timeout called for by the defense. So that means they're down to 1 remaining here as we head toward halftime. So a defensive timeout, chance to regather, regroup, and get set as we resume action. .44 on his first punt, and this is a good kick as well. He'll take it a few steps in front of the 50. They'll get 9 yards on the return there following a punt of 42. And the Raiders will have a short field to work with as they take over. And now Oakland ready to take the field. And this is a spot late in the clock near midfield, though. Maybe take a couple chances, see if you get in field goal range. You do that if you have trust. And this should be a position now where the great ones, they relish this opportunity to try and put points on the board. They'll try and start this drive in the air. And he's got his man out of the backfield. That's complete. And brought down, but able to get it to their 30-yard line. Give him 12 yards that time and an Oakland first down. Back to throw. Throwing right, and that's complete. Now a signal and a timeout call as it comes with 9 seconds to go in this first half of play. So on 2nd down, the field goal unit is on here as they try to get 3 before half. He connected on his first. This time it's 39 yards away. And Janikowski bangs it through. And they will take the lead here in this battle of field goals. It's 6-3. So they kick it through to take the lead. There is a little bit of time left, though, here in the second quarter. And while they're concerned about not giving up a big return or giving up points themselves going into the half,
How good do they feel, though, putting points on the board themselves right near the end of the first half?
This is taken just shy of the 10 here. Oh, he shifts past him. And now running right through him. So if you like field goals, this is your game. 6-3, 3 field goals at the break. As we'll send you down to Orlando as we check in with Larry Ridley and our EA Sports Halftime Report. Larry?
Thanks, Brandon, and welcome to the EA Halftime Report. Let's take a look back at the first half. Both the Bengals and the Raiders have very low rushing totals. It has not been an effective part of either team's game plan, and you wonder if either side will give a more concerted effort to run it in the second half. All right, let's roll those highlights. Now midway through the second, defense is going to come away with the sack. This goes for a loss of 9. Raiders have it late in the second. Vanderbilt's going to take down the QB here. This ends up as a huge loss in yardage. That'll do it from here in Orlando. Let's get it back out to Cincinnati for the second half as we rejoin Brandon and Charles.
This will be fielded at the 6. And a nice job there as he gets this one up just shy of the 35-yard line at the 34. The Bengal offense now with a football first here to begin quarter number 3. They're close game, but they're going to need to do a little bit better probably here in half 2, no?
I would agree with that totally. I would guess it in the locker room. They talked about cleaning up some of the errors, but overall, I think they wanted to be positive with them. Guys, we're right there. Just not playing as well as we need to. Let's pick it up, and we still have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, they do. We'll see if they can pick it up. Unable to connect on the first down pass play. Now it's second down. On play action, they'll throw. And this time he's got the hook up. It's complete. And getting this just shy of midfield, they'll spot it at the 49. That one good for 15, and the Bengals get a first down. So here we go, 1st and 10 now. They'll run it now out of the gun. And they go backwards here, losing yardage back at the 48-yard line. It's a loss of a yard there, and now second down.
So statistically, both of these offenses having a rough time getting a running game going. But, boy, what a nice play there defensively.
And he's going to go down. They sack him back at the 42.
This has been a tough one for this offensive line. It appears almost like they've been on roller skates this entire game, the way they've been pushed around. 6 sacks given up in this one.
Really in a hole here, 3rd and 17 following the 2 negative plays.
Here we go now.
He'll look to throw. And he's got him. Got his man on the end route. Complete. And he'll be brought down at the 45-yard line. It'll be a pickup of 13, but it'll still lead to a 4th down. Here's Kevin Huber now, as he'll punt it away for the 4th time today. And this one will not be returnable as it sails out of bounds. So here comes the Raiders offense getting ready for their first possession of the second half. They have the lead here. Well, we talk a lot about pregame speeches. What are halftime speeches like?
For the most part, not nearly as emotional. They're a lot more clinical. Every now and then, though, they'll get after you if they think they need to light a fire. But in this case, let's go into the virtual locker room, because here's what I think happened. They got in there and they said, listen, let's take control right away. Defense, we got the lead. Defense, don't give up any points. Turn the ball back over to the offense and let them go down and score and give us more of a cushion in the game. Check so far. Defense shut them down. Let's see if the offense gets done.
Play-action fake. They'll look to throw. And he'll be taken down by the Bengal pressure.
And that's the second sack of the game, but this player, disruptive in all phases, whether he's going upfield, coming underneath, you name it. He's a big-time guy you have to block.
The Raiders on third down. They've converted just 2 for 6 thus far. This will be 3rd and 19.
All right, here we go. Boom, landed.
They'll look to throw. And he's going to be brought down. Back at his own 6-yard line.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
Here's Marquette King now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. 46 on his first kick. This one in that neighborhood as well. That's taken it around the 40. Oh, and now some space to operate. A very good return there. Give him an even 20 yards. And the Bengals will take over in terrific field position. Now this Bengals offensive unit ready to see what they can do here. These guys had to punt their last possession, and that's become too familiar of a refrain. Too many of these drives just wound up going nowhere.
But you know how in baseball, when the pitcher gets a base hit and he's on base, they bring his jacket out to him to keep him warm? A lot of times the punter goes to the sideline, puts on sweatpants or a wrap over his leg to keep it warm. He might need a massage from the trainer right now from all the work he's getting.
He'll come out throwing here on first down. He's going to flip one out here to his running back. And he'll get it inside the 40 to the 39. He'll get a couple yards on that one, and it'll make it a second down.
So many times you hear today's NFL described as a space game. Get your best players into space with the football in their hands. That's why sometimes you swing it out to your runner, get him out in the flat, and let him have a chance to make people miss an open field.
And he gives this time to the tailback. And he's going to fight his way forward here for a modest gain. And it's still about 3 yards shy of a first as the 4-yard pickup brings it to third down.
Well, if you're a football guy, that's a pretty run because everyone is in sync right there. Obviously, the guy carrying the ball, but how about the people up front? Leverage, athleticism, they created some nice space for him.
They're going to look to throw. Quick hitter here, it's complete. And he's able to pick up the first down here before he goes down at the 26. It goes as a gain of 8, and it moves the chains. On first down, he'll drop to throw. And they'll be inside the 25 now at the 24. It'll be a 2-yard gain, and it'll be second down. Let's see what the offense comes with here. 2nd and 8. Now back to throw. Under pressure, and he'll go down. Sacked back at the 31. Offensively, they're going to have to figure this out before next week. 7 sacks in one game.
Yeah, and that's more than any quarterback should have to bear. And if this continues on, there will be another quarterback in the game because no one can stand up to this week after week.
The Bengals on third down. They've converted 3 times in 8 chances. This is 3rd and 14. Pressure again, and down he goes again.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
Here's Kevin Huber now, as he's on for the 5th time here today. And he deserves a bronze leg as he gets this one away. And this will depend on the spot as it sails out of bounds. And they'll say it sailed out at the 10-yard line. And now Oakland ready to take the field. And a tight game after punting last time. See if they can get something going on this drive.
As they head to the field now, with the game this close, you've got to feel there's a sense of urgency for them going on offense right now. But they have to do it without letting panic creep in and affect their play.
Let's go! Boom, landed!
Off the play fake, he'll look to throw. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Newton. And he's brought down after a good gain. A very solid gain of 27.
There are so many things to watch for when you play defense. And reading your keys, you always hear about that, and having your eyes in the right place. Sometimes your eyes can fool you. How about that play action there? And it sprang the big guy, didn't it?
Able to dump it over the top to him. So the offense has it 1st and 10. They'll set up a throw. And no escaping this time as he'll go down. They got him for a sack.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
Second down and a little ways to go here. 2nd and 13. Out of the gun, they'll look to throw. Got his man complete over the middle. It's Newton. And he'll be brought down shy of the 40 at the 38-yard line. 4 yards on the completion, and it sets up a 3rd down.
Well, that was an okay hook up there with his tight end, but unfortunately, they didn't get the kind of yards they had hoped for. That's going to bring up 3rd down.
Here we go.
The Bengal pressure gets him that time. Down he goes.
This has been a tough one for this offensive line. It appears almost like they've been on roller skates this entire game, the way they've been pushed around. 6 sacks given up in this one.
Here's Marquette King now, as he's on to punt for Oakland. Fair catch signaled for and taken just shy of the 30-yard line. A 41-yard punt there with no return. And the Bengals will take over here 1st and 10. Cincinnati now ready to take the field.
Now, if you're a fan of punting, and I know that not many people are, but this game kind of turning into one for you.
Well, it's okay if it's a skills contest, right? We're really into it then, but not during the course of an actual game. This has turned into a field position game, though. Sometimes a better punter may actually determine the outcome.
Firing quickly here, and that's complete. And he'll be brought down right around the 37. A good pickup there. 8 yards on the first down completion. And some options here for the offense on 2nd and 2. As they come to the line, they will not be able to get off another play as time has run out on this third quarter. We'll return with more after this. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Back now in Cincinnati. It's been a very hotly contested game to this point. Just a field goal separating these two teams as we get set for the fourth quarter. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he'll get it out near the 40 to the 39. 2 yards on the pickup there, but it's enough to give him a new set of downs.
But we always talk about good down and distance, allowing offenses to expand their playbook. Well, 2nd and 2, that means your playbook's wide open. You can run just about anything. But a lot of times, the play caller, he just looks down at his sheet, sees the short yardage runs, and goes to one of those.
A loss of a full 3 yards, and now it's 2nd down.
If you're a selfish player and you're throwing the ball, you're cool with the completion. Maybe not so cool with the yardage loss, though, huh?
Yeah, you went backwards on the yardage. Hey, it kind of works like a sack for the defense there.
Yeah, it's a really big play for them, right? Able to figure it out, sniff it out, and finish it off.
Out to the flat. That's complete to his running back. They'll give him 8 on the play, and they're going to face a 3rd down. And just in general, Charles, on a play like that, how tough is it for the defense to account for a running back essentially being a receiver downfield?
It's very difficult, especially if the running back has skills like a receiver, and you're aware of that before the game even begins. So throughout your practice sessions, you're going to want to be aware of him. Where is he lining up? What can he do? What kind of damage can he do to us downfield? And who can match up with him without weakening our overall defense? You're exactly right. It's a tough task to match up to him.
And the Bengals on 3rd down. They've converted a third of their opportunities, 3 for 9. This will be 3rd and 5. And unable to connect on the long pass. It falls down incomplete. Well, they haven't had a whole lot of success in the passing game here. Now, in the second half, he's thinking, I guess maybe just take a shot deep.
I think you're right. Almost looking for a bailout, isn't he? Can my receiver go up and make a big play for me? Can I create a penalty downfield, maybe pick up an interference call and get that yardage downfield? Anything trying to get going again, but you're right. He definitely took a shot.
Punting now is Huber as he sends it away. And this one hits at the 3 and then bounds into the end zone for a touchback. So out come the Raiders. They've got the lead. Last time had to punt it, though. What's the key to this drive?
I think it's leverage.
Leverage.
Big guys up front. You know the motivational speech on the sideline is, guys, give us an opportunity. Protect the passer, create space for our runners, and let's go ahead and get these guys. Low man wins. Let's go do it on this drive.
Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And the Bengals have recovered it. He let one slip away last week as well, so now 2 fumbles lost in as many weeks.
Well, we were out of practice, and we watched him work. And what did his quarterback coach talk about all week?
Being a 2-hand monster.
And we looked at each other. 2-hand. Oh, I get it. 2-hand monster. Both hands on the football, taking care of it, putting it away so the ball doesn't get dropped.
The Bengals offense now, they head back onto the field. They were forced to punt last time, and I doubt sincerely that they'll have to punt here because they're gifted with terrific field position.
I don't even want to think about the idea that they would end up punting starting with this type of field position. Neither do they. Great starting spot, great opportunity to run your full playbook. They want to take a shot here, they can go ahead and do it.
They'll come out throwing here to start the drive. And that'll be incomplete.
Boy, you will not see a quarterback of his caliber miss on one like that very often. I mean, there it is, wide open, got the shot, and he misfires.
We talk about, boy, he'll want that one back all the time. He definitely wants that one back.
Second down here after the incomplete pass. Now a handoff here to his running back. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. Give him 4 on the ground there. They're now left with 3rd and 6.
Now, I can't imagine any celebrations being any bigger than your first NFL touchdown. And this rookie running back is still seeking his. He's not going to get it on that play.
Green 39! Green 39!
Hard throw, incomplete. So now Randy Bullock with an important field goal try here. From the left hash, should be a fairly easy one here. And Bullock will put this one through. And in the 4th quarter, this game is tied. Well, you talk about clutch right down the pipe, and this game's all even here in the 4th.
And he didn't leave much doubt there, did he? Good snap, good hold, and that one was dead center.
And with a marker down, he's up just past the 25-yard line, but I think they're going to be going backwards. Let's check the call.
Return team.
Yeah, this is going to put them back with a not great field position.
So they really got zero benefit at all, right? Sometimes you can absorb a penalty when you get a big return. Then the penalty brings it back, but you still have great field position. As you pointed out, not in this case.
And the throw left sideline here is caught, but they'll rule it incomplete. Couldn't keep his feet in. Second down. He was trying to hit Jameis Olawale, and it's second down. So incomplete on first. Let's see what second down has in store. In trouble here, and down he goes. Back at the 8-yard line.
Well, there's your first ROI, right? Return on investment of their first-round pick. His first NFL sack. I know they want him to be an impact player right out of the gate.
A lot of pressure to put on a young man, but I think you agree he has the ability to deliver on it.
And he just did. Probably the first of many sacks in a long career.
The Raiders on third down. They've struggled to the tune of 2 for 8 so far. This is 3rd and 17.
Here we go now. Green 39!
In trouble, and the ball's out. It's in the end zone loose. And he's brought down all the way back in the end zone. My goodness, that's going to be a safety. Well, I don't know if careless is the right word there, but bottom line, here in the 4th quarter tie game, you can't do that.
You sure can, Brandon. And not only do you give up the lead, now you've got to turn around, punt it away from your own 20 as well. So it's really a double whammy with time starting to become a factor.
After the safety, remember, they also need to give up the football, and here's the free kick.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team.
Some good games going on in the early window. This might be the best of the bunch.
Green 39! Green 39!
Now a play fake here on first down. They're looking for his tight end on the corner. It's complete. And he's going to get this down to the 35-yard line. 23 yards on the play.
I got the sense that the defense created a little momentum for them there, didn't they?
Did their job, forced the punt. Now, nice start to the drive. Offense has to do their part.
Yeah, they certainly do, but what a great start for them. They got to go thank the guys on D.
Looking to jam the receivers at the line here. Press coverage look defensively. Now they'll run it on the toss. And some room to roam now. 23 yards on the pickup there and a first. I guess he was saving his best for last, so to speak. Longest run of the day coming here in the fourth quarter right there.
And that type of run makes for a better night for him and his teammates, doesn't it? To be able to produce this late in the game can lead to some big smiles and satisfaction in the locker room after this one's over.
So after that big play, let's see if they can catch their defense maybe on their heels.
Let's go. Green 39.
Now they'll run it on the toss. And they'll lose yardage here. They go backwards to the 13-yard line. That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be second down. The fourth quarter here, they've got the lead. They want to keep it on the ground. That's what they're doing.
Smart football. Keep the clock grinding. Keep it going. But you got to figure now they're going to see more people stacked up at the line of scrimmage as they try and bleed it out.
And incomplete there. A nice hit. Jars the ball free and brings up third down. Now the Bengals on third down. They've had a lot of chances, but not much success, converting only 3 times. This is 3rd and 11.
Set. Green 39.
This will be caught just inside the 10. And he will take it on in for a Bengals touchdown.
I know these wide receivers are about flash and dash and high-flying plays, but a good number of them played running back at some point in their career, and that's how they finish off a lot of their big plays, run after the catch.
And this time he finishes off the big play in the end zone. On for the point after is Randy Bullock. He's got it, and the lead moves to 15-6. The drive summary that time, 5 plays. And it's finished off with a Cincinnati touchdown. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. This one fielded at the 5. And nice work on the return as they'll start their drive just past the 30-yard line. And now Oakland ready to take the field. And last time they surrendered the safety, we know they don't want to do that again.
That is just one of those oddities in scoring that we get, and it's just so strange to see that go up on the board, and then you got to make sure that that doesn't happen to your team again. They've got to take care of the ball.
But boy, it juices up the defense.
Oh, without a doubt. That's a great way to score some points.
And he'll be brought down. Oh, that's a face mask. Certainly looked like it. Indeed, here come the flags.
Face mask. Defense.
Well, when you're leading in the fourth quarter, that's not the penalty you want.
Not at all, and now your discipline comes into question. Having poise this stage of the game, you can't have those kind of plays.
Here we go now. Green 39.
Back to throw now on first down. Going to throw right side here, complete. And he's brought down. That one good for 13 and a Raider first down. Here's a play fake as they set up to throw. Throwing the out route incomplete. That's Newton. And he gets this one all the way down inside the 20-yard line. And a nice gain of 21 yards. What a throw right there for the first down. He has taken some real punishment in this game, but still standing in the pocket completing that one.
He's a flat-out warrior. There's no question about that. How about him stepping up into the teeth of the rush and delivering there for that big strike and that big pickup.
And they'll go ground game here with a tailback. And after the good gain last play, this time they say, as he's going to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage.
Oftentimes when you're not winning at the point of attack for an offensive line, maybe they're getting out physical, spread things out a little bit, make it more of a one-on-one blocking scheme. Then you don't have to win it physically. You just have to win it by position. That may open things up for your running backs.
And they'll run it here. No dice this go-around. He's hit behind the line and taken down. He lost 2 there, and it's 3rd down.
Wasn't that long ago that the NFL guys really didn't adopt much from the college game. But one thing that has crept in there is spreading things out, opening things up, not even just in tempo, but maybe getting better line splits and spreading the field. I think that would be a great strategy right now to try to open things up in the run game.
The Raiders on 3rd down. They've struggled to the tune of 2 for 8 so far. This is 3rd down and 12. Now they'll run it on the toss. And he'll at least get him inside the red zone here, down to about the 19. Just a yard on the run there. That's going to bring us to a 4th down. Well, look at the clock. You're down 2 scores. Have to go for this, don't you?
And they thought that as soon as they took over possession. It didn't matter where they were on the field. They were always going to be in 4-down territory. Backed up, in good situation, it didn't matter. So they've been preparing for that on their play sheet the entire time.
And Janikowski bangs it through. And high fives for that one as that drive ends in 3. All right, so you needed 2 scores to get back in the game. The field goal then maybe not exactly what they wanted, but it's a necessary first step.
Still plenty of time remaining, but you could really use a stop defensively after the kickoff, preferably a 3 and out.
Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. This is taken near the 13. And he nearly broke that for more, but as it is, they'll start this drive at about the 37-yard line. Here again comes the captain of this offense leading his crew back out there now. And after the slow start, the numbers show he has really straightened things out. How often sometimes is that you come into a game and the defense is game planned a little differently than you expected?
More often than maybe people realize, so adjustments are often a big part of each and every game, and it's not just getting to halftime. It's series to series to make it work, and being able to hang in there when there's a little adversity early and see them able to flip it around, it's kind of gratifying for a team to watch, especially for a coach.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And getting this just shy of midfield, they'll spot it at the 49. Time for a break. We'll come back, see what transpires after this. So the Bengals in possession of the football here as we get you reset. They've got a 1st and 10 as they look to try and finish this one off. And a new set of downs here after picking up the first on the ground. And to give this time to the tailback. And he's going to take this one down inside the 45. Whistles now and a timeout. So defensively they burn it here with 1:51 left. Looks like the defense in press coverage here. Now a handoff as they run left side. And he'll be brought down, it looks like right at the 40. Now a second timeout called for by the defense. And they'll be disappointed to have to burn one there after giving up the first down.
And now following that timeout, the defense back out onto the field.
Let's go. Green 39. Green 39.
On first down, they'll run it on the draw play. Now the defense will burn their third and final timeout. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break. Now a handoff here to his running back. And a short gain there down to the 37-yard line. He'll pick up only a yard there, and it'll leave him with a 3rd and 7.
I like that run right there, partner. Not the flashiest run, not the one that's going to break for big yardage, but he understands the situation, and taking care of the football, paramount, and he got it done.
Nursing that slim lead, you're exactly right. Hold on to that ball.
They'll run it now out of the gun, fighting his way down to about the 35-yard line. Give him 3 yards there as that'll take us to 4th down. Here's Kevin Huber now, standing right around the midfield stripe. And out of bounds, sailed over, looked like right near the pylon. This one's going to be perfect. Directional kicking at its finest, right down at the 1-yard line. And tough starting field position here.
Let's go. Green.
Back to throw. And he can't hang on to it. That would have sealed him. Instead, 2nd down. So after all of this, it comes down to one final play.
And just think of what it's going to be, because from this distance, you got to be prepared for everything. Hook and laterals, tip balls, you name it. A lot of laterals after a catch. Just got to be prepared, stay on your feet defensively, and tackle someone.
And that is incomplete. 2 seconds left on the clock.
There's definitely contact there, but it's the 4th quarter of a kind of tight game, and sometimes the officials just say, let them play. Kind of like your mom used to with you and your brothers. Just take the broom to you and send you out to the backyard and tell you to settle yourselves.
I like that, yeah. There was contact. I don't know, like you said, enough to warrant the flag. It was close, though.
All right, here we go. Blue, landing.
One final shot. They'll look to throw. And it's incomplete. So their final drive comes up empty. And with that, the ball game is over. Well, going into the final play of this game, they knew that they needed some type of a miracle there at the very end, but they couldn't get it done. However, we were treated to really a spectacular affair.
Even though they didn't finish it off, you're exactly right. They took us down to the last play. We're still... You were wondering, could it happen? Possibly, even though we both knew it was a long shot.
So for Cincinnati, it's a win here in their home opener as they move to 2-0. And they will hit the road next week to take on the Miami Dolphins. Meanwhile, for the Raiders, they'll fall to 1-1. And they'll try to turn it around next week as they head to Atlanta for a matchup with the Falcons. So that'll do it for us. For Charles Davis and all our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL on EA Sports. It's a win for the Bengals as we say so long from Cincinnati.